Yes, hey everyone, welcome back to Warm Embers. I am so excited today. We have YoNasDa Lone Wolf, and she is hip hop artist. She coined the term edu-tainment. I love that. And your quote, "No nation can rise higher than its women." Oh my God, legendary. You're activist. You are into culture. You promote. I saw that you were on some morning shows with some brothers doing some songs. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. And you are empowering. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to clarify, I'm a former hip hop artist. I haven't rapped in like 10 years.
But I'm sure it's still there, right? When you're doing things.
No, it's not. No, it's so funny. DJ Free Leonard, the nephew of Leonard Peltier, he just hit me up and he was like, let's do a song together. I'm like, I don't have it in me anymore. The last song I did was with Superman.
Okay.
And and we never released it, but and then my son Shamar, who's now 14, he took all my talent.
Oh,
Ever after I gave birth to him, I tried to write another song and I couldn't even. It was like I was trying to think of the word that rhymes with whack, black, stack. Like it was just coming off.
oh my gosh, that's
He took all my talent. So he's an actor, he's singing, he's rapping, he's doing everything. He literally took all my talent.
oh, I love that. But I love that you're such an amazing mom too. That's part of
Thank
your
you.
who you are. I saw that he got a commercial with I can't remember who.
Drewski.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I saw you.
Yep.
I was like, that's so cool. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a commercial with Drewski. He's in a for Christmas season for everybody, he did a movie called Brewster's Millions Christmas with China McClain and Romeo Miller. You
Ooh.
can watch it on BET and Amazon Prime.
Huh?
Yeah, so he like I said, he took all of my talent.
But not your grind because you are
Not my grind.
entrepreneur extraordinaire. Like you
Yeah.
did revolutionary healing, res tours, walk in my moccasins podcast. You wrote books. I mean,
Yeah.
the Indigenous Peoples Movement. I mean, now Labubus. I mean, you are just on the grind all the time. That is so cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so let's get into your origins, or let's do your intro first. Where are you from?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So my name is YoNasDa Lone Wolf. I'm a proud Oglala Lakota Native American and a Black woman. My mother was full blood Native American, Wakia, which is Red Thunder Woman, or Waneta Lone Wolf, from Pine Ridge, South Dakota. We was just talking earlier to see if we have kin. And then my father, Thaddeus McCall from Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, my mother was a part of the American Indian movement. She was the Aimster gangster, but she also was the public relations director for Muhammad Ali.
No
She
way.
was
Oh,
yeah, she was the first Native American to work for NBC
uh-huh.
in New York City. But she was the woman behind the Thriller of Manila, the Rumble in the Jungle, and that really introduced her to the Black community. It introduced her to Islam. It introduced her to just the whole entertainment community. I have my mother's memoir, and she was saying that, growing up on the res in Pine Ridge, she always thought that natives just all looked like her. And so
Uh-huh.
she went to New York and she was like, are you really native? Like she started meeting other tribes that had, different types of like characteristics and have like intermixing and things like that. Because as you know, in South Dakota, there's not a lot of mixing. We may have some French, in us, but that's about it. We don't have a lot of other mixing within our tribe. And so but yeah, my mom fell in love with a beautiful, tall, handsome Black man from Brooklyn, New York, and he swooped her off her feet. I was born during the longest walk. So I was the only girl born during the longest walk. And Mary Crow Dog had a baby as well. So it was two boys and one girl, and that girl was me. And so my name, YoNasDa, is I was named by a former council member. Oh my goodness, he's gone. Oh, Larry Anderson from the Navajo Nation, and so I have a Dene name, and it means the squash blossom. And so yeah, so YoNasDa is a Dene Navajo name. So my mom, yeah, so my mother, she ended up being a political prisoner because she would not be an informant. Because during that time, Minister Louis Farrakhan and Muammar Gaddafi were doing these indigenous conferences. And so it was like, I mean, I'm talking about from Russell Means to indigenous leaders from all over the world will go to Libya, and they were asked, and then yeah, and so they would go to Libya, and Muammar Gaddafi, former president of Libya, was giving out money to help. He just felt like, Native Americans should not be asking the government for money. This is our land. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to give you all money to be able to build your communities and to be able to do whatever you would like to do with that. And so I know that American Indian Movement got some money. I mean, a lot of people got money during that time. And so the FBI went to my mom and was all like, we would you be an informant? And my mother said no. And so they gave her 7 years in prison. And so during that time, Minister Farrakhan adopted me and my brother, and we ended up moving to Chicago. And for me, it was a cultural awakening, I would say, because I didn't, my mother raised me in Native American traditions, spirituality, and it was my first introduction into Islam, and it was my first introduction into this whole new world and everything. And it was amazing. It was amazing to be able to be in such an amazing family, and just like I was able to really be a kid. I wasn't on the run with my mom. I thought my mother was in on vacation. I didn't know she was in prison. And so it was the first time that I actually able to like really be a kid, because being a revolutionary freedom fighter, child, I was around like all name a revolutionary, I was around it as a little girl. So we was always from house to house, so it was the first time I was able to have some stability. And then when my mother came out of prison, we moved back to Phoenix, Arizona, and she ended up changing her perspective on the way that she wanted to help people. And she was working for, now it's called Native Connections in Arizona, but at the time it was called Guiding Star Lodge, and which was a rehabilitation center for drug and alcohol abuse for women, children, and men. And so she was working there and going on throughout all the res, and she started a company called Dreamweavers, and she would help young people get out of gangs, because I don't know if you remember in the 90s it was a huge wave of gang life on the res, and a lot of the elders did not know how to be able to deal with the youth. And so my mom will go in and teach and get a lot of youth out of gangs, and confront some of these cartels or even the Russians and all of that, saying, get off the res. Yeah. And so we would do workshops and just all types of things like that. She ended up having lung cancer, and she passed away in 2003, on December 21st, 2003, of lung cancer. And the city of Phoenix, they ended up giving her her own day. They gave her Waneta Lone Wolf Day because of not just the work that she did with the youth from all nationalities, not just within Indian country, but she also was the president of Native American Recognition Days. She also was really instrumental in bridging. She always made sure Native people had a place at every table, no matter what it was in regards to the planning with the city of Phoenix. And part of that was that for us to have a Martin Luther King holiday, she used her relationships with the NFL, with the players, to boycott Arizona in order for us to have a Martin Luther King holiday. So she saw how instrumental it was to make sure that that four directions, we talk about that medicine wheel of the four directions, and we talk about it, but it's one thing to live it. And so when we're planning and everything like that, it's so important to make sure that the colors of the four directions are presented and always represented, and so my mother was always made sure that black, red, yellow, or you know what I'm saying, like all of the is it black, red, yellow, white, and brown people were always represented on everything that she did. And so I would say that I took on that. I took on those things. My mother always had me go with her everywhere to go speak and things like that, and to always make sure she had to sing a song in her country twang accent. Her native song, there'd be that country twang, but she always made sure I was singing right along with her, and having that drum, with her, or when she poured water, doing sweat, she always made sure I was right there by her side, assisting her and everything. And so when she passed away, I always loved hip hop. And I will always, and so I started rapping. I was on tour with Wu-Tang Clan, with Redman and Method Man. I used to dance on BET, Soul Train, and all of that. And I always loved hip hop. And I always felt like hip hop was a part of being and being a movement baby. I felt that the music that I could really relate to was hip hop, because it was also loud and proud and freedom fighting, with artists like Public Enemy, and so many, Queen Latifah. And so I was rapping and everything, and I just would use that in my first march. That so Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan asked me to help him with the Millions More movement, and it was the fifth anniversary, well, no, 10th anniversary of the Million Man March. And he was like, help me get, Native Americans, Indigenous, and Latinos all here so we can make sure everyone is represented. And that was my first one without my mom. And Russell Means, who was like an uncle to me, and Chief Ernie Longwalker, who is like my uncle, to me, a warrior woman, they helped me with that. They helped me to make those relationships and help me to learn how to organize people in our people. So we had the Native Youth Movement from Canada. We had people from all over Turtle Island come, and it was a beautiful thing. And after that, I just continued on. I just continued to be on how I could be of service to not just within the Black community, but also within the Native community, and that's just a little bit of my life.
That is not little. That is monumentous. Phoenix is such a hub of Indigenous activity, community. Like, I don't know if there's another city that, well, my limited knowledge, but like, I don't know if Minnesota has that, I don't know. But Phoenix is so community minded. Like, there's so much going on. And I'm sure your mother was very instrumental in that.
Yeah, yeah,
That all of the resources and tools and the way she strategized, and that now I see how you are just phenomenal. You're walking in those footsteps. That is
yes.
cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of my questions was, Oglala, wild or mild? You are definitely wild because you're out there moving and shaking things. It's so funny when I went home this last time, and I was talking with my dad's really good best friend, and he was saying back in the day, like the 60s, wherever they went to the different reses, everybody was like, you're Lakota, like, let's buy you dinner, let's do this, we want to be, because of the AIM movement, they knew that they were
Yeah,
front lines that were making difference, standing against the government. So
yeah,
yeah, what a beautiful time. I'm sure it was hard. It was hard to be during that time because my dad did say, it was really, there was challenges, but still
yeah.
the work that your mom and they did, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was, it was they were, when Russell Means and Dennis, when they saw the Black Panthers, that's where they got the inspiration from, was the Black Panthers, for them to start the American Indian movement. because the black, they, so they were like they said they were the native version of the Black Panthers. So of course, just like the Black Panthers, COINTELPRO was on them. I mean, they were literally always on the run, and having, so myself and Washte Wee, who was the daughter of Phyllis Young,
Uh-huh.
Natani, Tatanka means, Dennis Banks' children. Like when we all speak, we all have a foundation of an understanding of the way we all were raised. We were raised in survival. We were raised in, constantly not of instability, instability, I should say. We were raised that way, and but there's also a certain level of fight that we have, and that we're always like, we just say what it is that we need to say, and we do it unfiltered, and something that but when we was in Standing Rock fighting against the Dakota Access Pipeline, who is also a part of their Dakota people, they are our sister tribe, and a part of the Ocheti Shikomi, so being up there was our Wounded Knee, and
Uh-huh.
was our Alcatraz.
Yeah.
It was that for us. And one again, it was the wild Oglalas right
Yeah.
in the front, and it was crazy because it was tribes from all over the world, and we wasn't there thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago on fighting those battles, right? But
Uh-huh.
our DNA, it was something about that I saw up there that was so unique. Those that come from war, like those that are front, like every tribe has positions, right?
Yeah.
And so, like for instance, the Hunk Papa, the Standing Rock, they were always the thinkers.
Uh-huh.
They
Yes.
were the thinkers, and the Lakota people, especially the Oglalas, they were always on the front line. They was right there. So it would be like the Hunk Papa, they were like, okay, this is what we're gonna plan, but Lakotas, y'all in the front. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? We'll be there too, but y'all in the front.
Yeah.
And so then you have tribes that are like Pawnee, who was our arch rivals then,
Huh?
Pawnee were always right there in the front, right there fighting. The Apache,
Uh-huh.
right there fighting, and then the Navajos, the Dene people, and the Hopis were the ones planning, or
Uh-huh.
some of them were the ones doing the ceremonies. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone had their position, so it was really unique to see how those that come from that DNA of right when we was at camp, where everyone knew they needed to be, even if they did not know their history. It
That's
was like,
amazing.
yeah, and it was crazy because when I went in front of that bulldozer, I was right there. Was my Pawnee brother. I
Uh,
call him Akis. He literally ran right in front of me, and they tackled him down. And he's Pawnee. And
uh-huh.
then the women that were next to me, they were Apache. They
Uh,
were like Comanche. Like they were from tribes that were frontline warriors in their DNA. And then the ones that were like doing the meetings and strategizing with a Hunk Papa, was the Navajos, whether you know what I'm saying? Like it was so unique. And also too, on my black side, I am Zulu.
okay.
So Zulus were our front line out of all of, when you look at Africa and all the tribes, there's thousands of tribes.
Uh,
The Zulus were known for being the ones right on the front line as well. So I have it in both of my DNA. So every time they were like, there's an action, I'm like, I'm going. I was up there running with my ribbon skirt just out there.
oh my God, that is
Yeah.
amazing. Yes, that just gives me clarity into your whole mission of like, yes, that makes sense. You have it on both sides. So that
Yeah.
gives you, yes, your DNA is supporting you in all of these
Yeah.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Standing Rock was amazing. I remember I didn't go, but
Mhm.
I had watched like a lot of the streaming, a lot of the videos. And when the Crow, which are also historically our
Yeah.
enemies, had shown up with their headdresses on the horses with their flags, I thought that was such a beautiful moment of like coming together in unity. against this industry, it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful moment.
It was. And then when the oh my God, and when the Maori came to do the haka,
Ooh, yeah.
and they did the haka in front of those, in front of that army and all of them, I was, and one of the most memorable moments was the day after the big raid. the
Uh-huh.
crow the crow and everyone else that was from horse nations,
Uh-huh.
they came and did a horse ceremony.
Wow.
And I never been a part of a horse ceremony. But these horses, they just went around in a circle. All these horses ran around in a circle. And we was on the outer edge and they were in the inner. And they just kept going and kept going. And it was something about their energy that just like, I mean, it was not one dry eye. And some of us just, I mean, we needed that because they say horses carry strong medicine.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most phenomenal ceremonies I ever been a part of. And I was just like, because that day after the raid, it was, man, we were down. We were so down. We were depressed and it was hard for so many of us. But yeah, that horse ceremony, when those horses came, it was phenomenal.
Oh, I bet that whole
Yeah,
time. I mean, I have friends who went also, and they just said it was amazing just to be there in that moment,
yeah,
you know? So thanks
yeah,
for sharing that. That sounds so
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Thank you.
So let's get into your Afro-Indigenous work. So
Mhm.
you work simultaneously within both communities. African American community, we see so much unity and so much like upholding each other. And even on TikTok, it'll be like follow for follow, or like let's
Yeah.
support Black businesses, or like Black Girl Magic, or all these things. And it's such a strong community. And
Yeah.
Indigenous community, because as a business owner, focusing primarily on Indigenous community, it can be a little bit challenging. And I'm not really sure. I'm kind of thinking it's just like scarcity mentality, or like maybe there's not enough room, the perception there's not enough room. But we don't really have those big movements of like Indigenous community follow for follow, or I don't, have you seen that also? And
You're absolutely right. So within the Black community, I love that you could see that on the outside looking in, that it is very supported. I do, when I look, yeah, I guess you can say that. Like we do have a lot of support Black businesses and things like that. But there is divisiveness too. There
okay.
is a crab in a barrel, but on a broader scale,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I could see that yeah, yeah, we do have that. I think that it goes down to our percentile.
Okay,
There's more of a population of of Black folks than there are natives.
that's true.
So for that reason, like I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. They call it Wakanda
Oh.
because because of the fact that there is so many prominent Black businesses here.
Yeah.
Like it's similar to like how in Oklahoma
Uh-huh.
or in Arizona or even in California when you see so many Latino,
Uh-huh.
businesses, and or Oklahoma, so many native businesses, but the thing is that you're right. We have a crab in a barrel mentality within the native community,
Uh-huh.
and it's because the fact that we feel like we are not being spoken about anyway.
Okay.
We feel like we're not like where are we at prominently on television, in media, and so when we are being acknowledged, we're like it's individualism instead of tribalism. It's individualism because you're like, okay, my cosmetic line is being talked about, so and I'm out there and and because I'm getting this platform on Vogue or whatever, you know what I'm saying, then I don't know if I should bring others because I need to be that one to set the stage. You
Uh-huh.
know, I
Yeah.
would say that in early Black culture it was like that. But
Okay.
but in 2025 when more people begin to get acknowledged, it was like, okay, we can now we can now support one another.
Okay.
Because you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that once we get to a level of knowing that it's when you go into a room, you don't, and I say this within the Black and Native community, in every like place that I'm in, every time you go into a room, you're representing not yourself, but you're representing your entire ancestry and your entire lineage. And you have to, and your people and your family, and then within Native culture, our tribe.
Uh-huh.
And then our people, not just our one tribe, but
Yeah.
our entire nation. And so we have to uplift one another, and we have to be able to push one another, in the media, in businesses, and everything. I mean, one person's beadwork is just as beautiful as your beadwork, you
Uh-huh.
know? So
Yes.
it's okay to promote that one sister's beadwork or that one brother's beadwork, you know? It's
Yeah.
okay to promote the next person's fry bread,
Exactly.
or
Yes.
it's okay to promote, like, and I don't like clicks. I
Yeah.
cannot stand. That's probably why my last name is Lone Wolf.
Uh-huh.
I am not cliquish.
Yes, me neither. I don't
Yeah,
understand. I'm like very much. I mean, the fact that I'm reaching out to people, my favorite part of conferences is getting to know everybody. Like,
yeah,
who you are, what you up to, you know? But I'm
yeah, and
sticking with a certain people. I just want to hear everybody's story, It's just
yeah, and then even when you're like that person, they're like, "Oh, she's doing too much," and it's like.
yes.
Like, no, this is what it's about. And I think that, like, and especially as we're becoming more mainstream, like I just watched the new
Oh,
It.
yes, 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 yes. So good.
It's okay to promote those that, other actors, and
Huh?
I mean, we really got to stop this click thing, this click and this individualism, you know. We have to stop that, and it's going to hurt us more. And to be honest with be honest with you, that divisiveness is going to be our downfall. We literally make up what, 1% or 2% of the American population.
Yes.
And here, just in the United States, not Canada, but just in the United States. And we really have to come in full force, and we have to come in together, like when I did the Breakfast Club. I had different people come with me. I had
Uh-huh.
Florice White Bull, and a lot of people, they didn't know who Florice was. Some people thought someone else should come, or wash their weeds. Someone, and I was like, no, these are my sisters. They
Yeah.
were right there. They fed me when I went to Standing Rock. They
Uh-huh.
housed me when I went to Standing Rock. They
Yes.
welcomed me when I went to Standing Rock. They're coming with me.
Yeah.
Some people felt like I should have other people come on the Breakfast Club with me, and all type, and I brought in just different voices and different people with me that may not have a huge social media following, but the work that they're doing in the community needs to be acknowledged. Even the collaborations that I did a collaboration with Kayla Looking Horse.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and so I saw Kayla's work. She's from Standing Rock, but I saw her work like in 2015.
Uh-huh.
One of her and I was like, I like you. So we just stayed in touch. She was like, "Can I dress you for this or dress you for?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You know what?" I said, "I want to push you out there. Like, I want to really push your designs out there." Because she was very, very local, and I was all like, "I'm gonna put out some calls. I'm gonna call, former Miss You. I'm gonna call Ashley
Uh-huh.
Calling Bull, because I had her involved with the Indigenous Peoples March. So I was
Uh-huh.
like, I'm gonna call Taboo, who I've been knowing for over like 30 years from Black Eyed Peas. I invited Taboo to Standing Rock. I was like, I'm gonna call all these different artists, not just within the Native community, but also in the Black community. I'm gonna let's dress Tobias Trevelyan for his movie. Let
Yeah.
so, like, we did this collaboration so it can open up more doors for her. It wasn't about me. It was about, you could use my name, my resources,
Uh-huh.
but I want to put you out there because you're dope.
Uh-huh.
And now she did New York Fashion Week. She's dressing everybody. Like, she's kicking butt right now, And that's what it's about, is to be able to support one another.
Yeah, that is exactly it. That's what I love sharing on my Instagram, like, oh, I like this person's beadwork and sharing
Yeah,
that and consistently like ledger art, like,
yeah,
oh, this person, and
yeah,
about sharing and uplifting each other within the community and getting
yeah.
beyond the individualism, like you said. I just love that message. That's so perfect.
Yeah, yeah. And then even too, we have to think about within the Native community if we are designers or
Mhm.
if we are, or if we have products, expanding our products to prominent Black and Latino and Asian influencers,
Yes.
because I think sometimes we just stick with the white community.
Yes, for real though, because I think I've been enough. So now that I've launched my business, I have been researching the demographics, looking at who's doing what and what's working and what's not working and this. But we either do only native or only native and white, right? Like,
Yeah,
and we're not like looking at other communities to bring that in those relationships. That is such a
yeah,
good observation because I have
yeah.
noticed that too, that I'm like, okay, it's like there's more communities here in the US, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's okay. Like, and that's kind of what I've done, was to, I mean, I just feel like white folks are going to support us anyway. They just have an infatuation with Native people,
Yeah.
especially with Westerns that they grew up on. But I
Uh-huh.
just feel like, but when you look at our beadwork and our designs and things like that, is very similar to other indigenous people of Africa and
Yeah.
of South America, Mexico, and even Australia, the Aboriginals. Like, it's very similar type of colors and the way that they do and weave work and all types of stuff.
Yeah. Actually,
Mhm.
the wrap beadwork has really taken off recently. Because remember, it used to be peyote stitch, right? Or brick stitch
Yeah.
too, like
Yep.
one by one by one. But now we're doing the wrap stitch. But I think that's more like African centered,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
Uh,
we did trading years ago.
uh-huh.
We did a lot of trading with one another years ago. Like every time I go to our tribe isn't in like by the water,
Yeah.
by the ocean. But
Mhm.
when I go to like Washington or California and like the Hoopa, people are just different, yeah, Kumai, is it Kumaya?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Kumaya, yeah, them, or when I go to Shinnecock or even Seminoles, like when I went to Seminoles, there's oh yeah, a lot of relatives in Barbados. And I was like, for real, they're like, yeah, they was like, our people are also in Barbados because we did so much trading, and they was like, our people are in Barbados or Bahamas. And I'm like, for real, they're like, it's only right there. Like we would just get on a boat. Like we've always connected and so the Caribbean is really strong with trading with the Seminoles and other. So even like when you like in California,
Mhm.
in the Asian community, like a lot of trading. So our people has been trading for thousands of years. So even when it comes down to, so even that, just pushing what we're doing and still continue that trading thing, and saying, and like, okay, support, so you could support our business as well, and things like that. I think that once again, it's back to that. If we talk about the four directions in that medicine wheel, we have to live it.
I love that. That's so true. The medicine wheel, if we go back to our heritage, our grounding. Yes, that's so good.
Yeah.
Going back to the trading, I think that message also needs to be really pushed because the American manifest destiny, all that is like, oh, we were all separated and then they brought in education to these savages. But
Right.
in reality, there was so much going on. Like the my grandma would tell me, like, she remembers trading with the she's Dana. So trading with the coastal tribes, like they
Hmm.
would go halfway, trade, and then go back, and
Yeah.
we didn't stay in one area like the American fairy tale,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then on top of it, everything was a lot more closer too before the continental shift.
Oh,
We were here before here was here.
yes, exactly. Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get back into your you have launched so many things and make it look effort.
Oh.
So what would you, if a lot of people out there who want to go into their own business or movement or community workshops, what
Yes.
advice would you have to just how would they approach laying that groundwork or give us
Mm. Oh man, it has to be in you.
some.
It has to be in you to do it. You know, one of the and that's a really good question. How would I
Because you do it so ever. I mean, the fact that you've done so many things is just a
yeah.
testament, because
I I think that the thing is that, an activist has to be activated. Something has to be activated within you. Um, I think that if you're being called, like anytime you're seeing something to activate, you're like, I gotta do something, I gotta make a difference. After that, God and your ancestors just push you and they guide you. I think listening to that inner voice and having that balance, not to be pushed by, not to let ego drive you or
okay.
drive you, but having your ancestors and God drive you will help you to navigate to do multiple things at one time. And I know that I was spiritually led
Uh,
for the longest.
wow.
um I was diagnosed with lung cancer the same day that I organized the George Floyd march at the CNN building in Atlanta, Georgia. Remember the big protest at the CNN building and it was on fire and all. I didn't do that, but I had a march. I gathered everyone. I organized that in less than 24 hours.
Wow.
And but that morning I found out I got lung cancer. And that morning, I was like, oh my God. And now mind you, there was it was 10,000 people waiting at the CNN building. News, everybody was, and then when the newscasters called me and she was like, hey, we're here. And I said, I just found out I have cancer. Can you go interview so and so and so and so and so and so? I am on my way. As I was going down there, I was like, okay, God, what do you have for me next? You
Yes.
know, that outward work. My mother used to always say, every time you bring out joy, find a way to bring joy back in. Every time you bring out happiness, find a way to bring happiness back in. I think that all my life, I've been in a place of how, because I've been seeing everybody else serve, go
Uh-huh.
out, outward, outward, outward. And I felt that that is what I'm supposed to do as well. So I've done that. But I believe that God was like, no more. You're going to learn inward work. You're going to learn self care. Because when we look at our freedom fighters, a lot of them have passed of diabetes, heart attacks, not the assassination ones, but the ones that died of natural deaths. And it was always about self care. Were
Uh-huh.
they eating right? Were they sleeping? Were they taking time for themselves? And a lot of them weren't
Yeah.
because they were constantly, it was an imbalance. If you're giving out something all the time and you're not putting enough back in, you're going to get sick.
Yeah.
And so I have over 200 cancer tumor cells in both of my lungs.
Oh gosh.
And when I look at these tumor cells, I'm like, that was anger, that was, didn't forgive myself, that was this, that was that. Like I am in my head, I'm looking at every tumor cell and naming it of things that I gotta release,
Okay.
things that I gotta heal from, you know? And it took cancer. It took cancer, some because I'm an Aries, I'm stubborn as hell.
Uh,
I know I am God's special child
uh-huh.
that it had to be so dramatic in order for me to be and to sit my behind down
Uh-huh.
because I was doing so much
Yeah.
and giving out so much of myself and not saying I need to rest. I need to heal. I need to take some time and bring something back to me. And so now I always tell those that want to be activists or those that want to be of service, you do not wait until it's diabetes or high cholesterol or or cancer or whatever in order for you to take time for yourself. Of course, we know there's science behind it and things like that, but I do feel it has a lot to do with the way we live our life and what we're putting out there. And so so these past 5 years of me battling lung cancer has been that hard awakening for me to be able to like, okay, they say that in that saying in the church, they be like, let go and let God.
Uh-huh.
Like let go, let God do it.
Yeah.
It was a hard thing for me to actually live, not just say it, but live and say, let go and let God. And so when I'm seeing all these people that still are getting, ISIS coming and beating up all these people and taking them out, or, more families that are being murdered by police, or more, when I'm watching all of this and it's breaking my heart. But I'm like, God, I know you're going to send another person that is going to be activated, that you're going to activate to be able to help this family or to help that fight or to help that fight. And it's not and until God puts it in my spirit and say, okay, you can now go back on the front line. I will. But
Yeah.
right now, I'm not. It's not, I don't, so when I created Revolutionary Healing, my nonprofit, I wanted a community to heal with me. It was like my selfish way of like, I need a community with me to heal. But it turned into on the third Sunday of every month, I do a day retreat. The last one I did was in August. I'll probably do it again. I don't know when. I have to just, but in the meantime, I do little healing workshops and, creativity workshops. Like I just opened up a toy store. And
I love
so
yes.
yeah. So but I'm about to start doing craft workshops that are also healing, art therapy, things like that, with my nonprofit with Revolutionary Healing. And but yeah, it's right now I'm in a place of wellness, healing, and as well as, one of the quotes that I love is the basis of community development is self-improvement. The
Uh-huh.
basis of community development is self-improvement. And so we have to have accountability to ourselves. We have to hold ourselves accountability in the areas that we're not healed from. And being a movement baby, um, I had to take a hard look, and it took cancer for me to take accountability of the areas I'm not healed from and I haven't forgave myself on, you know.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And that work is hard. That work
Yeah.
right there is hard to look inwards
Oh
because
my
it's
God.
easy to look outwards and identify all the wrongs and how can I do this? But to look inward is hard. Like even
This,
coming from survivalism, coming from our past generational trauma, to take a moment and sit with yourself.
yeah, this is the most hardest revolutionary work I've done.
Uh-huh.
This is the most hardest is that inward work, going inward and doing this, and healing and just trying to heal, this cancer. I'm very blessed because at stage 4, I just take a chemo pill. And
Okay.
it's a targeted therapy. I take a chemo pill every night. I have my ups and downs with my health, but other than that, I have been very blessed, with this, and it's been a blessing. It has not killed. I'm not dying.
No,
I
you
you know,
amazing. You look fantastic.
thank. And it's funny because this past year, everyone is starting to say they're like, because I'm 47, but
Uh-huh.
they're like, you look so much like you're getting younger. And it's because like I said, the more no,
Uh-huh.
like, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Yeah.
And it's not in a place of selfishness,
Yeah.
but it's a place of self-care of like, I've been saying yes for a long, long, long time. And it's okay for me to say no.
Yes. Yeah,
It's okay.
it
And
was.
I had to say it's okay to say no. Because when you're so used to saying yes, you start feeling guilty when you say no. And I had to get to a place that when I say no, I'm not gonna feel guilty, you know. Like I don't even do a lot of interviews no more, but it was like, but it was your spirit and it was like what you're doing, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, but I don't do interviews. I just put Natani and Anton X on the Breakfast Club. Usually I'll go with them.
Uh-huh.
They shouted me out on there and everything, but I usually go with them. But I was like, nope, this is their time. It's time for me, I feel like I'm in auntie era, just pass that baton.
Yes, oh my gosh. Yes, everything you just said, because it is just healing, because I've done so much healing. And it is hard. I grew up with very trauma, poverty, shame, all of it. And so going through and healing the reflection, to look at myself, like who am I, like to get beyond what they have put on me, like my
Yeah,
and the work you're doing, and I see it in our community. We need so much healing because of just everything we've gone through, and also generational. And the work that you're doing is so amazing. Revolutionary healing. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that's a beautiful reflection,
Thank you.
Creator had to pause, like, let's take a moment, and say, hey, she needs to learn how to say no. I filmed
Yeah.
some
Hmm.
and they had asked, like, what is the biggest thing you learn? And then they said, no is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true, right? Because we always, like, I would feel guilty, like if somebody comes and from my family was like, can you do this? It's always like, yes. But now it's like, what are my boundaries? What is healthy for me at the end of
Yeah.
the day? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I have to make sure that reminding myself that don't get too comfortable with saying no either.
Yes, that's true. That as long
I
as
don't want to lose my friends.
you because the lone wolf will be like, hey, we need let's
I
not
mean, I know. I'm like, so every once in a while I'll like, reach out to my friends. Want to go do something, or do you need anything I can help you with?
get that's so true. Okay, so we're coming up at the end. This has been such a beautiful journey. Thank you for sharing yourself with us. Oh my
Thank you.
such a learning moment of all the early activism that has led us to where we are today,
Yes.
And to go back to speaking about dairy, which we finished, me and my husband watched last night. And at the end credits, they had a song, a native song.
The
I,
song we all know.
I was like, oh my God, this is like for me, because I watch so many movies and TV, like
Hmm.
such a momentous moment that at the end of an American TV show that we have one of our songs.
Yeah, and that's a song. And then when I was hearing it, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey
Uh-huh.
ya, hey ya, yeah. When I was hearing that, I was all like, because that's a song that me and my mom and her sister friend Avis used to sing everywhere.
No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you know what? I think it's a woman empowerment song.
oh my
Yeah, I think it is, but and it's from the Dakota, it's from like the border of Dakota
God.
people and Canada. Yeah, so we used to always sing that song. And so I had to keep rewinding because they started to sing when they were talking about the story of like the origin story of it.
Uh-huh.
That song was in the back. And I was like, hey, 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 and then I was like, oh, I was like, he's talking. Let me stop singing. So I rewind it again. Like I had to rewind it 3 times because I kept singing it.
Like the different sections, because I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I love this platforming our
Yeah,
people, like showing us who we really are and not through a Western lens.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was and sometimes what's so funny. So I know a little bit of Lakota, and when now. I knew a little words when I was younger, but then I forgot a lot of words. But
Uh-huh.
now I know a lot more now. And I rewatch Dances with Wolves, right? And what was so funny, I was like, all they keep saying is Wopila Palamaya. Um, they had, but the sentences did not match what they were saying. Matakiasi, but like the sentences did not match what they were saying at all. And
Oh
so
my God.
it was so funny. I was all like, who was on set giving them these words and like and saying that this was the sentence for it? So like
Oh my God. It's like they were trolling them. They're
need
like,
to go back and find out who was the language person on Dances with the Wolves. So I'm like, you got them bad. Like you got Kevin Costner so good.
yeah.
Because they were like, oh, we got a traditional Lakota person that would teach everyone the language. And they're like, oh, okay. And so they're like, you're gonna say this word, like, oh, and go get the, like let's say it's this, go get the horse from the Washichu, from the white man. And
Yeah.
so then they'll be like, Palamia Washichu. Like, so like
You like the word?
Like it was like Matakiasi, Washichu, Wopila Palamaya. And I think it wasn't even a good morning for Hahani Wash Day. It was like how? Like it was
My God.
it was so funny. I was like, oh my God. Cause I really was like, oh, they're speaking our language when I was younger. But now that I know, y'all, we watched it, I was cracking up laughing. I was like, this doesn't even match it. So like so on on the It movie, I mean, the series, it was good to hear like a song we actually sing.
Uh-huh.
We actually know. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God, that's so funny because I remember watching Dances with Wolves too and thinking that, but now I'm gonna have to go watch it and be like, because I do know a little bit more now. I'm like, what are they
we
saying?
watching, you're gonna hear nothing but Washichu for almost every word. So that's the funny part. So they're saying pale face, white man throughout the whole every phrase.
Oh my gosh. They're calling him white man the whole time. That is too funny. Oh my God.
That guy, that whoever was that one, they were like, we gonna get them good. We just gonna say Washichu through the whole movie.
They're trolling them. They're like, hey, but we've come a long ways, like you said, with dairy. This is actual representation.
So it's kind of funny. I kind of want to go back to look at more movies because I want to know.
Yes, I did hear that, like the Clint Eastwood movies from back in the day, that
Uh-huh.
they were saying things that were not correct for the English. Like they're calling them names and like, oh, so funny.
You gonna depict us and kill us off? All right, we'll give you the language.
Yes, exactly. They're like
You
talking.
gonna make fun of us talking about
Uh-huh.
the West, but you got us in like Lakota clothes. All right, we're gonna make fun of y'all. We're gonna.
Exactly. Oh my
So
God.
it was like the perfect get back. So shout out to all those people that paved the way in Indian country and media that did that.
Yes, right? That was their activist. Oh, I love it. This is so
You're gonna have to clip this. This is a good TikTok short.
yes. Well, I definitely will. What do you want to promote?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I opened up a toy store called Royal Crown Creations. I make jewelry as well. I made these. Yeah, yeah, I made those. But yeah, I make bag charms out of toy figures, and then I sell collectibles. This is my actual room. I actually collect collectibles.
Yes. I love that. I do too.
Yeah. So this is my toy room. But yeah, so it's I have a store at Charlie's Collectibles in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and it's open every Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. But you can also shop online at getcrowned.net.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Getcrown.net. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Bio. So, okay, so we're coming up on the hour, and I wanted to. We have three rapid fire questions. I like to
Okay.
with. So, what is your go-to mantra?
Ooh. Oh. Our life is a gift from God. What we do with our life is our gift back to the Creator.
Oh my God, beautiful. That is
Quack,
so
quack, quack,
perfect. Yes.
quack.
Okay. What is your favorite Labubu?
My favorite, oh my goodness, I have so many. I would say it'll be this one. Hold on, let me get it. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. Sorry. Okay.
Yes,
It's this one.
the Momo. Is that
Yeah, this is the flip with me.
good? Ah, that is
That's my favorite.
yes. That one is on my Christmas list. I'm like,
It is. Yes, yes.
telling my kids, like, hey.
Yeah. The flip with me. Yeah. And if you want it, you can go to getcrown.net. I do sell a boo-boo. So
Okay.
but yeah.
Yes. Okay. Last question. If your life were a movie, which it definitely should be, who would play you and what would the title be?
Oh my goodness. So my son, I asked my son this question. Shamar, what was her name? Shamar, what's her name that you said would play me? Ariana DeBose. Ariana, this woman. He said that he wants her to play me. Her.
Ooh, gorgeous. Yes. Love it. You are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
He wants her to play me because he was all like, she is so much like you. I think she is Puerto Rican.
Huh?
But yeah, he was all like, this, she's your twin.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, I'll have to add photos into this section.
Yeah. So he wants the movie. So I'm working on my mother's memoir right now. I mean, her memoir's done. I'm trying to like get it published, and
Okay.
I want it to be a movie, and it will be called Lone Wolf.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm gonna do a sequel to her book to tell my story, and
Yes.
I still don't know the name yet. And yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know. But hers is Lone Wolf, and I don't know if mine would be along the line of like, I don't know, the pack. I don't know. But
Baby Wolf.
maybe Wolf.
Oh,
Sugarmantu Echnala. No, I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know what it be called.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been such a pleasure. You are so amazing to talk
You
with and
too.
chill and your vibe. I love it. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
taking the time and being here and sharing yourself with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Vopila, Palamaya, Washichu.
We talk with Oya-san.
Dosha. All right.